People think hypergamy is the same as gold digging. Marry an old man and then when he dies, he takes his assets. Men have inherited tendencies to go for women who are young because they are seen as more fertile. If men are not shamed for that, there's no reason for women to also be shamed for wanting a man who is secure and provides security for her. And usually the people that keep shouting about gold digging, where is the gold for me to dig? Oh my God. Welcome my royal babes back to my channel. This is your Queen Angel. Why do women not like broke men? I'm kidding. Why women want a man who provides? Let's get right into the video. Hypergamy. It was very essential, especially in the olden days, because marriage was the only way a woman could up her status in life. Usually she was on a lower status because women couldn't work. But now women can work. And that's also one of the reasons why women tend to sometimes lead with their achievements, because they think that's what men want. Because women want that in men, a financially stable, secure man for the security that she wants. So they tend to feel like men will also want that. But a woman who leads with her achievements is very masculine. And some men are going to use you and then dump you for the feminine young woman that he finds next. Because deep down, that's not what men want. So a man who just wants to take from you will be like, oh, you have this, you have a PhD, you have a degree. They will listen to all that, they will take from you and then they will be gone. I spoke on this on my latest video on feminism. So you can watch this after this one. What does hypergamy even mean? Hypergamy is the tendency of women trying to marry up, go higher in status. Like Bridgerton, Daphne, she married, what's his name again? The Duke. Or she was even looking to the prince. In the olden days, marriage was the only way for a woman to achieve status in her life. So she had to be very strict on that. Like she had to make sure she's marrying up. That's when arranged marriages also came in. And sometimes they don't marry for love and whatsoever. But sometimes they marry for love and they can also marry higher in status. People think hypergamy is the same as gold digging. Who is a gold digger and what is gold digging? It's a person, usually a woman, who engages in transactional relationships, most of the time for money rather than for love. Like wanting to marry an old man and then when he dies, you take his assets kind of thing. Yeah. We have sugar baby. A sugar baby is a transactional relationship. A sugar baby can be a gold digger, but there's a difference. And then we have a trophy wife. All these definitions, they're kind of interchangeable, but I want you to see the difference, because I want you to see that hypergamy isn't any of these things, and these things are not hypergamy. So you shouldn't feel like you are shameful to be hypergamous. Like, no. A trophy wife is a woman who is regarded as a status symbol for the man. The woman has very little personal merit except her attractiveness and her youth. I feel like there's a Nigerian actress who is this, but no throwing shade here. If you know, you know. If you don't, it's fine. And even if you know, please keep it in your head. Is hypergamy a good thing? The answer to this is yes. It's not something created in the manosphere to shame women. It's a cold hard fact. However, the answers given on Wiki or the dictionary are very rudimentary. Hypergamy is a biological and evolutionary function of a woman's hindbrain. Men have the urge to have sex, protect, provide, and procreate the species due to testosterone, evolution, and other biological hindbrain functions. A woman's counterpart to this is hypergamy. Exactly. Like, this is not something that should be used to shame women. This was a negative perspective of hypergamy, basically saying hypergamy is gold digging. Yes, women are no different than the bank vaults they so love. If the man has the right combination, one that includes a lot of zeros, they will open right up. No loyalty, no consideration. They will use you, cheat on you with your best friend, your brother, your father. They leave you for whichever has the most money and take 85% of everything you own without a second thought. My guy, who hurt you? Oh my gosh. The fun part though is that they never realize until it's too late that the monkey branching you do can only take them so far up. And then they are in for a long fall down. One of those. Feeling amazed at the situation all the way. Basically, oh, a woman will be in her 20s and be doing whatever. When they get into their 30s, being a single mother, and then they fall down kind of thing. Please. Gold digging is not hypergamy. Hypergamy is not gold digging. And usually the people that keep shouting about gold digging, where is the gold for me to dig? Oh my God. I'm sorry, but usually the men that keep shouting about gold digging there's no gold to dig. Oh my gosh. I think I might make another video on what gold digging actually is, because People don't really understand what golddigging is at this rate. I think this was a woman. So apparently, this term refers to women being choosy about whom they want to enter into relationships with and trying to get the best man they can. What a concept. Is the alternative supposed to be women who marry less than the best available? Gosh, must be a lot of them. Seriously, there really are a lot of them. And of course, there's the standard grading chart to determine what the various levels of men and women are that we all agree on. Just like we all agree on things like beauty and desirability. Just like we all have the same levels of honesty, aggressiveness, ambition, intelligence, taste, skill, height, reflexes, etc., etc. So I think maybe this question is a bit poorly phrased. Maybe it should really read, do women naturally have the tendency to be human beings? I love this, it's so funny. Another person said, today we as a civilization have evolved from this instinct. We live in democracies, drive cars, and don't go to hunt and gather food. But still, women have a natural inclination towards security. Exactly. In olden days, that security was physical. But towards time, it translates to finance, power, and status. Exactly. Nowadays, money talks. It's not about being physically strong. It's brain over strength. And if you get what I mean, you get what I mean. Work smarter, not harder. These traits is appealing to women. Just how fertile young women are appealing to men. Exactly. Men keep saying, oh, after 25, a woman is weighs good or whatsoever. And then you keep saying that our women, but women want to marry up. That one too is a problem. Make it make sense. For every woman to be able to marry someone who is wealthier than she, there must be someone who is willing to marry her. Yeah. So it's not just on the woman, it's also on the man willing to marry her, despite the fact that she's less wealthier. It takes two to tango. Yes. Men are also absolutely free to choose wealthier wives and girlfriends. I know, right? And some of them even succeed. On the other hand, the fact that you have certain ambition does not really mean that you will succeed with the ambition. Good. In reality, for most people, it is not very easy at all to find partners outside their social and economic circles. And it's even harder for such people to establish a stable relationship. Yes. Tales about princesses and Cinderellas mostly remain in fairy tales, but very rarely in real life. Exactly. This is so true. So I don't know what people are in arms about. Plenty. There are biological or inherited tendencies in women to want to go for men that have more than them. And that's back from the time when men were the hunters and the women were gatherers. Also the same as men have inherited tendencies to go for women who are young, with long hair, broad hips, because they are seen as more fertile. If men are not shamed for that, there's no reason for women to also be shamed for wanting a man who is secure, a woman who can provide security for her. But then nowadays, with the culture and everything, some women see it as being disempowering. Even though nowadays, because women work, hypergamy is no longer seen as a necessity. We still live in a very I don't know how they say it, a community that is largely focused on men. We still live in that kind of society, literally. Like, men are seen as more valued than women. It's just a fact. And yeah, even though we're trying to change things, it's still the way things are. Like the American Association of University Women said, women are typically paid 82 cents for every dollar a man makes. There's still that gap between men and women. And that's why women have to be hypergamous. Just because you're hypergamous and you want the best man for the job, hashtag may the best man win, that does not mean you're not marrying for love or you're marrying for money. That's not what we are doing here. This is not gold digging 101. This is hypergamy. Usually a woman's worth is tied to her youth and her beauty. Like if you're like some of these coaches men, podcasts men say, if you're a high value man, you have to be beautiful, you have to be young, under 25 or whatsoever. So then why shouldn't a woman also have her own way of seeing a man's value? A man's value is brought by what he can provide. Why shouldn't a woman see that? Regardless of there being a shift with women working and equality, it does not significantly alter the way men select their partners, how they want their woman to be. So why should women change now into going for men that make less than them or whatsoever just because they start working? What is the number one reason for divorce? Money, finances. You might feel like, oh, I'm married for love, whatever, like all these Nigerian movies and the rest. And of course, married for love, super. Like me, I'm going to marry for love. I don't care. I'm married for love. But then hypogamy is the opposite of hypergamy. So hypogamy is marrying somebody who makes less than you or no lower than your status, whatsoever. I'm not talking about worth as a human being, because we are all worthy. You know that, right? God made us all as masterpieces. I'm talking about worth in how we are perceived by the world and everything. So if you are in a hypogamous marriage, it might seem all fun and dandy. Oh, I'm married for love, I'm married for love. But then the woman will start losing respect for the man. And what is the number one love language of a man? Respect. Even before love, respect. So if she starts losing respect for her man because he's not on her level, and he relies on her for food or keeping up the family, and especially when he shows this by being insecure, or she sees her friends' husbands or men providing for them, she's going to resent him. She's going to resent him, and that's how fights is all going to start coming. So the love that they once had, or the love that they thought they have, where is it going to be now? And another thing is hypergamy also helped the men, because no man wants to be with a woman who does not respect him, according to men, right? Even with these podcast men like the Kevin Samuels and the Andrew Tates, whatever, a man's worth is directly tied to his finances, at least how he would feel about his worth. It's not all it is, but most of it is his finances. So if his finances are good, he feels like he's that man. If it's bad, then he feels like he's less. It's just what it is. I didn't make the rules. It is what it is. So when he starts to feel like he will not even feel like a man, like, oh, my woman makes more than me. He might start to feel less than. He might start to feel like the woman is looking down on him, even when she's not looking down on him. And that will cause conflict in their marriages. So hypergamy is not only good for a woman, but it also helps the man. He's going to start resenting himself like he's less than a man. And that resentment is going to carry it on to the woman. And that's when feelings of insecurity comes, like not wanting her to go anywhere, or being afraid somebody else will come and take her, feeling like somebody else may be better for her. And even that's when men start to beat women. Like, they may not want to beat her, or it's not in them that, oh, I'm going to beat her from the get-go. But when they start feeling insecure, they start feeling like the woman is looking down on them, even when she's not. That's when they feel like they have to bring down her self-esteem, or they have to bring her down to his level. And that's when beatings come in, domestic abuse, those kind of things. Even if it's not physical abuse, emotional abuse, trying to make her feel lower. And once she feels lower, then they're on the same level. I've seen this so many times, that the man does not even intentionally do it, want to make her feel lower. But then it just comes subconsciously. Another way that men also benefit from hypergamy, when the woman is not stressed, they're able to get their physical and emotional needs met. Because, like, if both the man and the woman are working, and I'm not trying to say woman shouldn't work, no, just try, you come along with me. So when both the man and the woman is working, and then they both have their 9 to 5, so they both come home, who is to comfort who? You both have had a long day, so you want who to comfort who? But when the man carries the brink of the burden, he can have his physical, like sexual, and because the sexual needs like this, that's also a lot of a conflict in marriages. Like, the woman might come home from her hard 9 to 5 job, and then the man expects her to give him, and the woman will be like, I'm too tired, I'm too stressed, I can't do that. You see, and then the man starts to feel resentment, or starts to feel like she does not love him, but that's not really the case. So in hypergamy, when the woman is not carrying the stress from work or whatsoever, the man can benefit from having his physical and emotional needs. The woman can be there for him mentally without having to put the stress on his partner to carry the financial gain. And a man can even feel like, oh, I am that man, I am the breadwinner of this house, I am the leader. So just having that, and that's for my masculine men, because nowadays so many men are so feminine that they don't even see this as a privilege, that I am the leader of my family, I'm the breadwinner. They don't see this as a privilege. They be like, why am I the one who has to provide for you? Why am I the one who has to put food on the table? So I'm talking about real masculine men who find joy in having to relieve their partner of stress. One thing I want to address is that don't just focus on the finances or the status. Focus on the person. Because you can find a man who has the status, who has the finances, but then that kind of man will use that money and the status that he has to control you and to belittle you. Like, it goes both ways. Like, the one who does not have will try to bring you down or try to belittle you for you to be on the same level as him. And the one that has knows that you are not on the same level as him, so he will try to belittle you or put you down or make you feel like you need him, control your every move. You see, so that's why it's always about a person. And that's why you have to seek God and who you have to marry and even who you have to date. Like, seek God and let God direct your steps, because this thing is so easy. However, just because a man has the money and the status and whatever, that does not mean he's going to abuse his position or what he has. He could be a generous man, he could be a kind man. That's why I'm seeking, or you should seek, a man who abides by biblical principles, because the Bible says that a man should love his wife as he loves himself. Love is so broad. Love is kindness, love is generosity, love is selfless. All the beautiful attributes that you would want in a person, all is summed up in love. So when a man loves you, he's going to be patient with you, he's going to be kind with you. He's not going to try to belittle you or abuse you or make you feel down just because you're not on his level or whatsoever. Like I said, it can also go both ways. Like, a man may love you but not have much. But like I said, even though women, our love language is love. That's why God said we should love, the man should love the wife and the woman should submit to the husband. Submit, respect. So the number one love language of a man is respect. So if you don't respect him, whatever love that he has for you, it's just, even though love is a choice, it may be feelings at first, the feelings may go, and then the choice to love you may also go because you don't respect him. So hypergamy for a woman is all about feeling safe and secure. Back in the olden days, when people were just dying off anyhow, they had to get the best man that can bring forth healthy offspring that will make it in life. But now, even though back then it was all about the physical attributes, if he's strong, if he can, like, for going to war and for hunting animals, now it's all about the finances, because now it's all about the money. And not just finances, financial knowledge. This or maybe some of the reason why women like older men, because they are more mature. Actually, since women, it's said that women mature faster than men. They've had their fun already and they're also financially stable. And this is also why men like younger women most of the time, because they are fertile, less likelihood of diseases to be passed down to the children. Why women want a masculine provider, a hypergamous marriage, or why they like hypergamy. I might speak more on why women want a masculine provider in itself, not just with hypergamy. But for now, we are focusing on hypergamy, especially in marriage. Not all women want hypergamy. They might feel like it's restrictive, whatever. But most of the time, feminine women really want hypergamy. So let's look into the reasons. So number one, complementary. A feminine woman might feel like they feel complimented with a man who embodies the masculine traits, like making her feel safe, making her feel secure, being the provider, things like that. When he's not just a provider, but he's assertive, he's decisive, he's the leader, all of that comes into hypergamy. They feel like those traits complement their femininity, and so that creates a very harmonious relationship. And one thing I want you, my ladies, to know is that to be a high value feminine woman, I know this high value word has been thrown around a lot, but I'll do another video on who a high value woman actually is. You have to be secure in your own finances too. Even though we want a man to be the provider, you cannot just focus on just the man. You also have to have your own income, whether it's a side hustle, even if you want to be a housewife. You can be a high earning housewife with a side hustle, a side business, something, so that if you're just relying on the man to provide, which is fine and dandy, but what if something happens? Then you'll be like, oh, he has lost his job, or like what happened to Job, or everything gets destroyed whatsoever, your children are going to starve. No, you also have to have a backup plan, savings, investments, side hustles, businesses, something, a part-time job, something to hold on to, so that even if something happens with a man or whatever, you don't have to just be relying on him. And when the man knows that you can pay the bills, you can take care of yourself, but you choose to submit to him and respect him because you want to, not because you have to or you are made to. When he knows that, it's because you actually really respect him. He knows that, she's not being forced to respect me. She respects me from deep down within her. he knows that it's real true respect and not just respect because you are forced to. Okay, number 2, so cultural social influences, which I don't really think is social. I feel like it's been ingrained in us from the beginning. Women being the nurturers and the caregivers, and men being the providers, the protectors. So things like that, it has been like that since the hunter and the gatherers days. When the men will go to war, the women will be taking care of the children in the house. So these can lead to the desire for a feminine woman to want a man to fulfill the provider role, because it's ingrained in her that this is how it's supposed to be. 3, evolutionary perspectives. Some evolutionary theories state that a woman sought partners who can provide resources and the protection, especially back in the olden days where it was really needed. Like they were living in caves and whatsoever, like not in houses like this. That protection is to a minimum, but we still want a man who can, when a robber or a thief comes, he will not push you in front like, oh my darling, you should handle this. You get what I mean? We still want a man who will take charge. And also, some women may not like this. Some women will actually want a man who would provide for them. I know men may want 50-50. And I also speak on 50-50 relationships. Why? It's not a good idea, because it's never 50-50. It always has to be 100-100. But okay. 5, emotional support, security. Man may feel cared for. She may feel loved. When a man is able to support the family, so he does not have to rely on her. And hypergamy is not just resources. It's also in traits like support, caring, reassuring her. So when a man is able to do all that, a woman feels loved. 5, emotional well-being. So financial security or stability also contributes to emotional well-being. So when your finances are secure, you don't have to stress. You don't have to be thinking, oh, when will my next meal come? And women, stress is harder on women than on men. So when a woman knows that she does not have to be stressing about this because she knows her leader man is going to take care of it, it just makes the relationship just work well. And it provides her with a sense of comfort and with a sense of ease that she can just enjoy life. And they also know that if the man is able to provide for them, they're also able to provide for their future children. And so they don't have to be anxious about it. But these are other traits that a hypergamous relationship or a hypergamous man will bring. Because a hypergamous man is usually a masculine man. So leadership. He can lead but not be controlling. A man who is ambitious, confident, empathy. He's still able to see from other people's perspective and still able to listen and understand where she may be coming from. All these traits are also part of hypergamy. And of course, for me, a man who fears God. Because when you fear God, all these other traits comes naturally. A man who loves God and who takes the Bible at surface level. Like he listens to God and he values every word that comes from God. See, so hypergamy is not just about, oh, who is the wealthiest man? You have the most money, I'm going to come after you. No, it's about having all these traits. But if he does not have the most money, financial knowledge, that works even more than having the finances. Because when you have the financial knowledge, even if you lose your finances one day, you are still able to get back up. But one of the disadvantages of hypergamy, or what people will say they don't like hypergamy, they may feel like the women are always looking, who is the best man? So, oh, this man has more money, let me go for him. This man has more status, let me go for him. Kind of thing. It's like you can never rest. You're always looking for the best man for the job, so you never settle. It just leaves the inferior guy on the hook because he's afraid that he's going to get dumped. And number 2 is like hypergamy doesn't care if the guy is a good person, if the guy is a nice guy, if the guy loves you. It does not care as long as you have a high status. That's all hypergamy is about. But if hypergamy is just about this, that's when you have to bring common sense. Not just common sense, you have to also bring biblical characteristics, because this channel is all about godly femininity and doing everything God's way. So that's why you have to bring all the biblical perspectives into it and add it into hypergamy. And also another thing is, because men know that women are marrying up, it also puts pressure on them to get to the best level that they can be so that they are able to marry the woman that they want to marry. And divorce. So some people say that women will go as far as divorce their husband when they find the best man for the job, because hypergamy. But you know what I feel about divorce? We are all speaking on a biblical perspective. So divorce is not only when your spouse dies, or in the case of adultery, is divorce permitted. If you are married, he's the best man for the job. Point blank period. Whether it's hypergamous or hypergamous, you made a decision. That's why you have to vet men properly in this time that you're dating. That's why the dating season is very essential. You know what I like to do? We're going to look at some hypergamous Bible characters. Like, if it's so bad, it's not going to be in the Bible, will it? And mostly in the Bible, all the people in the Bible were hypergamous. Because what's the use? Especially when they were not able to work, what's the use of not being hypergamous? To stay in the same state you were forever. Sarah and Abraham. So Abraham was the father of all nations. The man was wealthy. We don't know how Sarah was like, her status, but she was his half sister, so she might be similar, but still it's hypergamous. Because hypergamous is not just marrying up, it's marrying on your level too. And that's why when the whole Kevin Samuels thing, how do they call that woman? I hated that thing so much. Like the woman was making 100,000 a year, and she wanted a man on her level. She can't get a man on her level because she's not good enough. She has to get a man below. Why? Like, make it make sense. If she as a woman is able to get 100,000 and men make more than us, why can't she get a man who also makes more? Like, why should she settle for less? Then we have Ruth and Boaz. Boaz was the landowner in Jerusalem, and then Ruth was the Moabite widow, and then she was working in Boaz's field, and then he took a liking to her, and God blessed her, and then yeah, they got married. God honored how she followed Naomi to her hometown even when she lost everything. So yes, that was a whole blessing. God blessed her with more. God did not say, okay, Ruth, it's all about love, so go and be with some, or the people that are working in the field with you, collecting the leftovers. God didn't say that, did he? God also honors hypergamy. So I don't know why it's giving such a bad rep. And then we have Esther and King Ahasuerus. This girl was a whole slave, and then she became a queen. Like, and God used the queendom for such a time as this to deliver her from she and the people being killed. And then we have Abigail and David. Abigail was married to Nabal. Okay, this is a very good example of hypergamy gone wrong. Or this is literally not hypergamy. This is not the hypergamy that I subscribe to. Abigail was married to Nabal, who was very wealthy, but he was a very harsh, unkind man who did not deserve it. So even though he had the finances, he was rich, he did not have any fruits of the spirit. He was not gentle. He was not kind. He didn't love her. So this is not the kind of hypergamy that we are settling for. Because this is also settling. But if you go for hypergamy, it's settling. If you go for hypergamy that is wrong, it's also settling. Nabal insulted David, who later became king. And then Nabal died. So when Nabal died, David took Abigail to become his wife. And that was hypergamy. But hypergamy gone right. I don't know. We can debate about it. Let's debate about it in the comments about David and Abigail. They may not have been loved there, but he was still a man after God's heart, so he was still treated right. She's like, yeah, 6 wives, and let's debate in the comments, because we are not doing the 6 wife thing. But that time it was permitted, you see, for men to have more wives. So, but now Jesus has come to fulfill the law and everything, so a man will have 1 wife, point blank period, and a woman will also have 1 husband. And we have David and Bathsheba. Hey, David is first married to one of David's men. He is warriors. He was called Uriah. And then David slept with her and had her husband killed in war. Then he brought her home to be his wife. It's hypergamy, but it's not the kind of hypergamy that we are subscribing for, I beg. But it's still, well, hypergamy. And then she gave birth to King Solomon. So, I mean, she went from being a warrior's wife to a king's wife. But this is the kind of hypergamy that men are afraid of, that you keep going for the best men. But I don't know if this is Bathsheba's fault. If she intentionally was naked bathing for David to notice her. I don't know if David took her by force. We never know. But this is an example. But it's not the best example. So please. Next video is coming up in 1, 2. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, my royal babes. And I'll see you in the next video. Watch the video about feminism next to be able to understand everything I'm talking about. 3. Hi guys, so this is my website. So that's the homepage. It's all about scholarly femininity. And the blog is more on a Christian take on social issues. Yeah, so please check it out and become a certified royal babe by subscribing to the blog. See, like I did. For God so loved you that he gave his only son, so you and I will believe in him and not perish, but have everlasting life.